We're waiting for you.
Are you seriously waiting?
It's all
for
good.
Me?
It's all good. Whenever you're ready.
Just gonna finish this row.
That in itself is.
You know that's going to be the open right there. I'm just going to finish this row.
Okay.
There's the name of your podcast.
Yes.
I'm just gonna finish this.
I'll be with you in just a minute.
That's a great title.
Yes.
I'll be with you in just
That's
a minute.
a great title.
You're listening to the 40 Thrive Podcast, the show created for women 40 and beyond, ready to shake things up. And now, your host, Jackie McDougall.
Welcome to the 40 Thrive Podcast. This week, we should call it the 60 Thrive Podcast because I have two women who are certainly kicking some serious ass in their 60s. Cathy Ladman is a stand-up comic, an actress, and overall badass. You've seen her on several films and on countless TV shows, including Mad Men, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Everybody Loves Raymond. She's also graced the big screen in several films and has not only appeared on The Tonight Show 9 times, but was also the only female comic to appear on the last two of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show anniversary shows. Also, Mindy Sterling is here. She is an actress and a voice actress, best known for her role as Frau on Austin Powers. I'm going to pause for a second so you can do your impression of her because I can't even say her character's name without starting to do the voice. She's also played Principal Susan Skidmore on the Disney Channel series Ant Farm, and of course, Miss Francine Briggs on iCarly. These two women are hilarious, they're brilliant, and they're amazing friends. So I got to chat with them together. Take a listen. Welcome to the 40 Thrive Podcast.
Yay! Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
The crazy thing is, this summer, I swear it should be called the 60 Thrive Podcast because I've had more people on in their 60s who are in their 60s than in their 40s and 50s. So you're
it
trending.
Just so happens.
Well, we're so much more interesting than anyone in their 40s.
60 is the new 60, by the way.
I heard that.
Yeah.
You know, I have to share, though, that we waited a couple of seconds because you had to finish knitting your row.
Well, it's actually Tunisian crochet.
What is it?
Tunisian crochet.
Oh.
It's like, I'm not a big crocheter. I'm mostly a knitter, but I just started learning this new craft. And you pick up the stitches and you keep them on the hook, and then you work them all off at the same time. So it's sort of a combination between knitting and crocheting.
I think I would lose my mind.
I love it.
I think I was getting anxiety just with her describing.
Oh my God. It's so relaxing.
And that was like a big thing. I mean, the knitting was a big thing years ago when we were on sets.
And it's not anymore?
Not that I have seen, and because
Now
now
it's
everybody's
Coke.
on their phone. Yes, cocaine.
See, that's a good point.
Everybody's on their phone now.
Yeah,
Seriously,
that's
but
sad.
it used to be people would sit there while they're waiting to work, and everybody was knitting, and I was like, "What is the?
I still bring my knitting with me.
Yeah, but you're different.
I am different.
So when did you let's start with you, Cathy. When did you first get into show business?
I started stand up when I was just shy of 26 years old. I started kind of late, I think.
Is that late?
Well, I think a lot of people started earlier in stand-up that I know anyway. But I had made some false attempts at starting, and I just wasn't ready emotionally, and I wasn't mature enough to handle it. I was really scared.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really scared. And finally, it became more painful to not do it than to walk through my fears. So
that's so fascinating. I think more people need to pay attention to that when they are afraid to do something what's more painful.
It was way more. It's way more. I mean, like I'm in the middle of I'm in the middle of developing a solo show now that I've been working on and off for 18 years.
Wow.
And I will not put it down. I mean, I've gone through different iterations of it, and now I'm going through yet another one, and I won't put it down because I know that I need to do this. I know that it's a very daunting project. It's a very personal project. A lot of it is about my eating disorder, and it's something that is so different from doing stand-up that it's scary for me, but I know that I have to do it. So, yeah, it's very important to walk through your fears, and sometimes it takes a long time to be able to do it. Well, no, I've been doing it,
okay,
but I haven't finished it.
Yeah. But you were over 40 then when you started that.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you, first of all, Mindy, how long have you been in this industry?
Well, I came out here in my early 20s, so I started doing commercials and I started working a little bit, but I never wanted to do stand-up because I never wanted to be alone on stage ever. After school and after junior college, which I ended up going to because everybody else was going to college after high school, and I didn't know what to do, and I went, I guess I'll go.
Right.
And realizing, I don't want to go back to school. So, and my parents were so supportive. And
That's so lucky.
I know, I'm very, very lucky. Well, my dad was an actor and a singer and a performer. And so I know that he was thrilled that I wanted to go into it. And my mom, she danced. So, I mean, there was, it was that kind of a thing. And, but my mother did say to me, I want you to take typing just in case the business doesn't, because you can always use that. And it really is true. I mean, I'm not a great typist, but it helped, getting jobs at the beginning. But yeah, so I've just been, on and off doing it. I mean, on and off meaning that wasn't my decision, but up and down doing it for a long time.
Right.
But my big break was when I was in my 40s because that was Austin Powers.
Yes.
Yeah.
See? So, I mean, there are a lot of people, and I want to get into that, like how things change after 40. But you said something about, so it wasn't the same for you as far as the support getting into this industry?
No.
Were you a huge disappointment?
I felt like a huge disappointment, but I was not supported. I was not encouraged. It was like the first thing my mother said to me was not typing, but she said to get a degree in education, and I fell back on it immediately because I was so scared. And I taught for 1 year. I taught 8th grade English, and I knew this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I floundered.
Were you funny when you
Yes,
taught?
I was
Did you
funny.
use your sense of humor?
They probably
I'm still
loved you.
friends
Yeah.
with. I'm friends on Facebook with like 2 or 3 of my students now as adults.
Oh, that's great.
It's really cool. I was so not encouraged, and I was always funny, but my family was not made like that, and they didn't have it in them, and I think it's sad. I think it's really sad. I think that a kid needs encouragement. I think every person needs encouragement to go after his or her dreams. So it took me a while to find that support network outside of myself, and then to find it within myself too.
Right. So what do you think it was that you had in you that even without the support, like Mindy's got this support and it's still a struggle, right? It's a challenge to get into this industry.
Oh, sure, but they were never. It was never about maybe you should think about something else.
Right.
They were always incredibly. I know. I feel like, wow, I must have had a bad childhood at some point.
I'm sure they screwed you up in another way.
Yeah. Believe me. Yes, there's some issues I can tell you, but that was one thing that I think they were not harder on my brother, but my brother wasn't sure what he was doing, and they just didn't want him to be a misfit.
Don't you think a lot of that is like the male-female thing, though, which is sad? I mean, especially back when we were growing up, that it was more important for a man to find his niche in life, or niche, however you say that word.
Well, because they were supposed to be
the
breadwinners.
But my father well into my career, my father would say, "Why don't you just get a teaching job?" I mean, I passed all my Tonight shows.
Wow.
I know. I mean, like,
did he
what
think
the
you were
hell
funny?
do
Like,
I have
you
to
were
do?
great on Johnny Carson.
Can you curse on this show, by the way?
Yes, you can.
But you were funny.
I was very funny, and I was successful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and it still wasn't enough for them. Like, what the fuck do I have to do?
Well, it's interesting, though, because my dad, I went into the communications, and my dad was the same way. He wanted me to be a teacher.
Right.
And I think for so long, I was like, he didn't believe in me. He told me to have something to fall back on. He must have, but in actuality, he just wanted me to be safe. Do you think that there was an element of that?
Look, I don't think they were motivated by anything other than my well-being, wanting
safety,
wanting me to be happy and secure. But I think it was their own fear. It was their own fears and their own insecurities that they were projecting onto me.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of people that they were, and that's the kind of person that my mother still is at 97. She's a fearful person.
Yeah, but you were able to somehow push through.
Like I said, I had to. I couldn't. I so knew that I had it in me, and it had to be expressed. It had to be expressed.
I think that's like so important to hear, because your family is so much a part of who you are, at some point until you can branch out. But to hear someone go, this was something that wasn't going away. I knew this was who I was. I mean, that's for anything. That's for whether a career, that's for whether who you are as a gay person or whatever.
Your identity.
It is who you are, and the fact that you were like, too bad, no, I'm doing this. To me, and still, we all look at it and go, when should I stop? Because, jobs start to get, when do I stop? When do I?
Yeah.
And I think that is so, it says so much about who you are and how important, because you have brought so much happiness to people.
Oh,
you
that's so nice to
so
hear.
funny.
You forget that.
I always love watching you. I love hanging out with you. She makes me laugh. And I do. I think you have something that I'm so glad that you didn't go, forget it.
Thank you. And, even with this solo show, I mean, it's slightly embarrassing for me, and that's because I'm judging myself because I've been working on it for so long. But you know what? It's taking as long as it's taking. And that's that. I mean, somebody told me how long Michelangelo took to do the Sistine Chapel. I said, but he finished, it's very important for me to stick with this and to not judge myself.
Right.
Because it's just got a longer gestation period.
Well, but also think about what you're going to bring to it at 63 or 64 or 60 that you would not have brought to it 15 years ago.
I have way more recovery, and it's like the show is the overarching theme. I've expanded the I don't even know what the word is, purview. I don't even know if that's the correct word of the show.
Is it a word, really?
It is a word.
It is today.
Purview is a word. But
my audience is so old they won't know.
Well, it's really about me being a perfectionist and me needing to have control over my life because I had no control growing up. I was so controlled by my parents, and I was so not encouraged to express myself. My father did not want me to express myself as a teenager through my clothing, through makeup, through anything. He really tamped me down.
Was he like that with your sister too?
He was like that with all of us, but I think what happened with me is that I'm the youngest, and so I was left alone in the house during my teenage years. I was the only one of us that was alone in the house.
How many
as
were
a
there
teenager.
total?
There are 3 of us total. So to have all the focus on me during those formative years was really hard, and that's why I got the hell out of there when I was 16. Wow. I left.
You left New York entirely?
I went to
16?
college.
Okay.
I went to college.
At 16?
At 16. I accelerated through school, and I graduated early, and I had to get out of that house. I knew it was poison for me.
Yeah, wow. And so, I mean, you both... Hollywood was so different back then, what people could get away with back then, but also the opportunities. At what point did you feel like maybe the opportunities were changing or drying up? Did you ever get to that point where you were like, oh shit, maybe I'm too old for this?
Now?
Well, I feel like it always...
This is the first time?
I feel like it always ebbs and flows. And
Yeah.
I feel like as actors, we go into different... as a stand-up, I feel like I've outgrown a lot of the venues that I used to work. I'm not interested in working clubs on the road anymore. It's just, my work has outgrown it. And I'm not popular enough to fill theaters, so I'm sort of in a middle... I'm in a middle ground there that is a little frustrating because I'd like to do more work in theaters, but I can't fill them. So I need to have something like a TV show in order to be popular enough to fill a theater, that kind of thing. But opening for people is great in a theater. It's really fun to do when I have that opportunity. But as an actor, and you'll probably agree with me that you get into different categories. As you move along, you move out of the crazy neighbor category.
But grandmother.
Into the mother,
Yeah.
into the grandmother, and there.
Well, as a character actress too,
Right.
You have a longevity. I mean, they always say character actresses are, until you get sick or whatever. but there'll always be an older woman or a woman. You know, we're pretty fit. So if I need to run or if I need to do something, I can go, hey, I can do that. You know, so that's a good thing. I do think that there's some stuff that the people go, you're just too young. You're too young. So that's a good thing. That means that I have
That means that it's
more
another
time.
categgory
Yes,
to go
yes.
to.
Right.
So that, okay,
Well,
so
come
when
on,
I get
but
older.
Estelle Getty was the youngest of the Golden Girls. They
Right.
can do something about that.
Well, yes,
Right.
but some people don't think of it that
Yeah,
way, you know, because
yeah.
then it's like, oh, they're going to really, make her up or do whatever.
Right.
or, you
Other
know,
people
that-
have to
yes.
do their job.
So, and then of course, then we're in the category where there is the more higher celebrities are also vying out for our stuff.
Right.
And those are the ones that maybe work more, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're just a little older than us, or maybe they are the same age. So you are sort of hitting. Of course they're going to use blah 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 because she
Right.
works all the time.
Right.
So that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I found that in my 30s and 40s, I was going up for pilots a lot. I was testing at networks for pilots. That hasn't happened for me for several years now because of what Mindy just said about a lot of these roles being just going to celebrities.
Yeah, that's why I just wonder if it's like it ebbs and flows in that you get into your 40s and 50s and they kind of dry up a little bit. But then as you move into your 60s and 70s, there are fewer people who are as funny or who can actually pull it off.
It's very true.
Well, I guess, later. I mean, I guess we have to wait until, 75. But, it's like, look, do you want to see me or Jane Curtin? I mean, Jane Curtin's going to win because she's
Right.
established and she has been doing the TV shows and she just has, it's also a style. It's a style that, if I don't have that, sort of dry style and I have my own thing, it just, I mean, I think the good thing is that I can still go out with all these people, but they're going to bring us all in, but they've already put offers out to people. So we're coming in just in case they don't get it. Well, I'm sorry, if you put an offer out to 3 or 4 people, one of them is going to take it. So I'm going in and driving myself crazy trying to do well. And I literally, in my mind, go, I'm not going to get it to have fun. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. Just not.
And I also think that I mean, I don't know if every business is like this, but I think this is a very fear-based business. I think everybody's afraid for their jobs. And I think that they are afraid to take chances. And they'll see somebody like Jane Curtin as a safer choice. Because of the money invested in the show, and she's a more well-known name,
Absolutely.
And
And that just happens. You're still up against, and now we're up against more, just bigger celebrities or people that people trust more, and they've used these people for many years, so they know, oh, she's good. Because when they're casting or when producers or writers are writing, they have a list. Oh, it's like a Jane Curtin. It's like a Lily Tomlin. It's like a blah. It's not like Mindy Sterling or Cathy Ladman.
there was one time where they were looking for a Cathy Ladman type, and I wasn't called in.
No way.
Yes.
I have had, a Mindy Sterling type, and same thing, or
And
a
you don't
Frau,
get called
or very sort of like a Frau, and not.
Like a Frau Farbissina,
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah.
So, because I wouldn't want to do that character,
Right.
again. But no, it is such an odd business. It is awkward. It is odd. It is unnatural, and I think for us to stay in it as long as we can, to have other things, like she's got knitting. I don't. I do not have any hobbies at all.
No, it's something crocheting. It's not knitting.
Yeah,
Tunisian
exactly.
crochet,
Yes,
yes.
Is what and to stick with it as long so that I have a pension, but it is, and then I like to travel a little bit, so I get to do that, but. I don't know. I mean, I've heard people go, God, I barely worked this past year. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I've worked and I've maintained and I get residuals. and I can just hope that, and I live very comfortably. I don't have a big, as you can see, I'm rent control. I'm really lucky.
We're in Santa Monica, California. Literally can see the beach from where we're recording. Your life does not suck.
No. And I have to every day remind myself how lucky and how grateful I am, because I really do. I've got so much more good stuff than bad. But at the same time, you have this need, at least I do, and I know you do too, Cathy, that I still want to be relevant. I still want to be valued, because if I'm feeling horrible, I swear to God, I love fans. It takes one person to say to me, oh my God, I love your work, and blah, 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 or I love you, blah, blah. Thank you. And I'm heaven.
I have been with her, and I say, that's your Sally Field at the mall moment. I have been with her where it completely changes her demeanor.
It is it is my fix, and
it
that
feels
and
great.
children. And I went away with a friend of mine, Annie Sertich, and she's sitting there, and we're at a spa resort, and she's like, "Oh, God, there's no men around," and I went, "There's some children around." And I'm not kidding you, because I love children, and then they'll remember me from some of the children's shows I did. She went up, and she saw some children, and she said, "Hey, you ever see iCarly or Ant Farm?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I go, "You know who she is?" She brought them over to me.
Oh, my
and
God.
I was in heaven.
Of course.
So
I've seen you on iCarly and Ant Farm. That's how old my kids are.
But that to me brings me such pleasure and such joy. And if I don't get that, like I do Comic-Cons, I don't know what it is, but that's my fix. And so that means you are valued. You are, people still know you and care about you. So it's okay, Mindy.
Well, the first thing I said to you when I sat down to record this was my 13-year-old walks around the house going, "Scott!" from Austin Powers, because we showed it to him.
Right. And I thank God for all of that. I really do. I'm lucky. But on the other hand, I still want to do good work. I still want to be, I'm like, Cathy's not giving up her one-woman show. I'm not giving up that. I would love to be on a series where I can go every day or Monday through Friday to a family to go and see people I love working with. I don't care how big the part.
I agree with you.
And I have a paycheck. I have a paycheck. And I'm not saying I'm broke, but there's something about doing something you love and it being aired and having people see you every week and a place that I could go. Because our business, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Oh, I guess I'm going to Cathy's.
Yeah.
3:30.
But I don't have that structure. And I think in a way, when my son was younger, that was okay, because I got to be his mom. I think one time or maybe twice I had somebody help me out when he was little, because I was doing a film. But I got to be there with him growing up, and that to me was the most important thing in the whole world. So now he doesn't need me as much, which is really tough. And so I need somebody else to need me.
Well, I mean, I look at Doris Roberts and I say, that's my guiding star, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
She was a working and a terrific working actor.
Oh, she was a great actress
for her whole life, but she was pretty well advanced in life when she got Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a fantastic, fantastic gig for her.
It's
and that's what I would like.
It's finding, I always say, oh, this wasn't the Mindy role. This wasn't the Cathy role. Right. It really is about finding the role that is, oh my God, I can't see anyone else in it but Mindy and Cathy. So I haven't gotten that in a long time.
We need to create these roles too.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. I mean, you know the industry better than I do. Do you see a lot of older men maybe creating roles that they can fit into? But do you see a lot of women creating roles that maybe
older
I think
women?
more so now.
Yeah.
Really? You think that there are a lot of women actresses that are creating roles to themselves?
For themselves?
Yeah, like creating projects so that way they have somewhere to go.
No.
I don't. I look at something like Grace and Frankie, and I think if it weren't for them,
I mean, they're superstars.
if it were two people that you didn't know, I don't know if it would have been obviously as successful, because you love them. You're watching them.
Yes.
So it's got to be somebody that loves.
I mean, it had Marta Kaufman, but in order for the show to really take off, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, I mean, they have such
They're so
star
good together.
power. I mean, they're fantastic together.
Well, and they were given another type of story, another type of role, and because we get older, it's like, well, where do I have a friend, Annie Sergich and I, who are writing something based on we're 20 years. I'm 20 years her senior, and she lived with me for a little bit, and so we're trying to create our life, but I don't know, hopefully somebody will think that's really funny and different, and I'd love to use my son who's on the autistic spectrum because I think that is huge, and there isn't a whole lot out there that shows how wonderful and how dark that could be.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
that's very true.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
talking, before we started, because we both have someone on the spectrum, and all three of us have kids who are adopted.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
So funny.
It's like we got to all pull out the knitting and just discuss all these topics.
And so, and as older parents too. So, I mean, my son is older, but I'm his, caretaker. I'm the one that takes care of him. And so there is, and I'm not dating, and to be honest with you, I don't want to be with anyone because I feel like
I don't blame you.
between because I was married for almost 20 years and I'm thrilled that I'm not, but between him and my career and constantly thinking I gotta take care of him, I gotta make enough money, then everything's gonna be okay, and I can't die. Oh my God, that is on my brain constantly, and trying to have a good life.
Right. I mean, the stress alone of trying to take care of an adult with special needs, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It
on
is.
a single.
There must be a lot of pressure.
It is. I love him more than life itself, but
Being married is kind of like that.
yes. But it's a lot of, the thing is, it's a lot of work, and marriage is a lot
Oh my God.
of work.
He's not listening, right?
He won't
not
listen
yet.
to
You know,
this.
I have to say, even
How
though
long were you married? Are you
I
married?
am married.
Yes, how long?
It'll be 17 years
Okay,
this year.
great.
Yes,
Good.
3
20,
kids.
Yay.
22.
22 for you. And we have teenagers, and you have a 24-year-old. But I was going to say before we move into that, because I do want to talk about how we evolve as women, whether it's in our careers, but the women listening right now, like they may not be actresses or stand-up comics. However, what you are witnessing, like what you're experiencing right now, is happening everywhere.
Yep.
Whether they're accountants or
Absolutely.
in production, or
I mean, and I think women way more than men have this thing about becoming invisible in society.
Yes.
I mean, I think that as an older woman, you are not considered in the same way as you were when you were younger. And I know it's like that in our business, as far as like, I mean, looks, I was saying this to my husband the other night. I said, you know what? Your looks fade. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And so the choice you have is to try to keep it up with a lot of work, which you will
Right.
constantly
It's
have
so
to do, which
horrible.
doesn't, and it's just devastating to see somebody who
It's
you
desperate.
loved and you go, oh my God, you don't even look like yourself.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. At the same time, we've got to be healthy. But I think for me too, I don't know for you guys, but I mean, I'm 66. I just turned 66. So for me, it's that bucket list. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? What gives you great joy? And I love women. I mean, I love being around women. I love
Me
talking to
too.
women. I am, and gay men. But I
Yeah.
think I so respect and I so admire women because I think what we do in our lives and how we overcome things and how that we are usually the ones taking care of the children and the animals and trying to figure out how to be happy and our insecurities. And I have anxiety, as most, I think, women do. That how do I continue my life doing what I want to do, act, but get the roles that don't drive me so full of anxiety that I can't do them, because I do have lots of anxiety over that, and being a great mom, and also spending time with my girls, my women are so important to me. And
Everything.
when I was watching, I just started to get into the Democratic debates, and I never would watch the debates. I knew nothing about it. I am so proud of myself that I watched last night and the night before and looked at these women, and I don't care if they get in or not. I do, but they were amazing. They're beautiful. They're smart. They have families. They're not afraid. I am absolutely just like, I'm fanning over them.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I do hope that a woman moves forward. At least one woman moves forward to the next round.
Oh,
I think that they will. But I'll tell you something. If women had physical strength, there would be absolutely no stopping us. I think that as a society, it's been so long that women have been pushed down. So long, and the way they're trying to take rights away from women.
Oh, yeah.
But to see the women fighting back is so empowering,
And what
so
we
heartening.
do, I talk about multitasking, because I think that that's maybe why I have some anxiety. I think we're just doing too much. I think because none of us
100%.
and none of us live a very simple life, and there's so much going on, and that's why I think that really adds to my my brain, that I can't think. I blank. And that we do so much more than anyone gives us credit for. And we're just more emotional. We take things, we compartmentalize them, we take care of
Which is great.
It is, but we're we are over men. That's what I'm saying. We do so much more, and
My husband works and sleeps. That's what my husband does. He works and sleeps.
My husband sometimes edits this podcast, so I'm not going to add to that.
But the thing is that he actually mentally and physically cannot handle.
But they're okay with that. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
well, because you have a woman here who is, and I think that's what you have to find a way to counter each other and to add to each other. The woman is, she's the care. She takes care of things. She's smart. She's bright. But at the end of the day, it's like, we just want to be valued. When my son says to me, "Mom, thank you so much for doing my laundry. I really, really appreciate it."
Oh, that's so nice.
But then there are days where it's, where it's like, "Max, how many times have I told you to take the garbage out?" And da-da-da-da. But he will say that to me. I will say that to him. So we value each other for those things. And I know he means it.
That's
"Mom,
so
thank you
nice.
so much for making my bed." He would never make it, but he knows I'm doing it for me. He doesn't care.
Right.
Things are on the floor. He
Right.
doesn't care. But when I clean that room, he so appreciates that. And that, I don't know. I never really heard that from my ex.
Right. Well, I have to take that back. My husband does do laundry and he does dishes. I have to take that back. But I make the bed for me also. And I've learned, thank God, to close my teenager's door, because occasionally I have to open it just to air it out, and I just close my eyes. She's really messy.
Well, and
Oh
it's
my
really
God.
hard because everybody says, let them be. Because we were all messy, and then I'm like, I'm not a clean freak, but I literally clean every day that I'm not working.
So clean.
But you'll still see dirt, but I straighten up and clean. But my son's room is, I just always say, isn't it nicer that your bed is made? Whatever.
yeah, they don't care.
He does, and
No.
he doesn't, and especially being on the autistic spectrum, and he's a boy, I get it. He puts things, he'll take clothes off, and his shorts are all underneath his desk. And I'm like, "Why, Max, why?" "Mom, I like this because this is," what does he say? It's something chaos. It's
Controlled chaos.
controlled chaos. And it's like, I don't get it.
Milan told me that like people who are that's my daughter, that people like geniuses sort of know where things are within
Yes.
their chaotic existence.
And if I move something, where are my shoes? Where's this? What did you do with it? I just put it right over here. It panics him. So I do get that. my point, and I don't know how to make it strong enough for him, Max, there may be bugs on the floor. You eat in the room, and everything is, and you forget your stuff gets dirty. I don't care. I don't care. Nobody says anything to me. Nobody says anything to you because they won't. But I will, damn it. So it is that for me, it's hard because I like clean. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I know.
Did you
I
ever
know.
meet a woman though who is just like okay with her, like just lets the kids like
Yes.
do their thing,
Yes.
or she's 30 minutes late and she's like, oh, sorry, traffic. Like I'm that person who's texting you 7 minutes before, like, oh, traffic says I'm 12 minutes late. Like I get so wound up.
Are you afraid to make a mistake?
I think there are definitely some fears in making a mistake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to be okay with it because.
Yeah, but when you're telling somebody I'm running late, that's manners, right?
Yes.
To me, that's.
But I'm feeling. I'm literally leaning forward in my car, thinking I'm going to get there faster if I'm leaning forward. But I don't want to do that because I don't want to tell my kids, whether it's directly or by my own behavior, that making a mistake is not okay.
I think I'll tell you through my own therapy and through my disease as being an anorexic, I was always trying to be perfect, And a therapist that I had for the longest time in LA was she encouraged me to make mistakes. It was very important to my recovery to make mistakes.
So you didn't send her a check?
Sorry.
Made a mistake.
But I think girls are always, taught to, about, to be sweet and kind and to do this and do that and to you're given all of this stuff and making mistakes. I don't think men are that bothered. And well, first of all, they will not take responsibility.
Right? No.
I mean, they just will not. My son will not take responsibility. And my problem is not only am I afraid of making mistakes, which I know I do, but I make them. I am so hard on myself. I will if something like she said, oh, we're supposed to see each other tomorrow. My bad. Oh my God, I will get on myself. So if I go into an audition and I don't feel like I've done well, boom, that I'll carry that with me until the next day.
Where do you think that comes from?
Okay, I'll tell you what, maybe. My biological father, my mom and dad divorced when I was probably, I think, 8. And whenever we would see him, he had a very booming voice. He was a singer and very booming voice and loved us. But he was always on me about what are you wearing? What's that all about? And he was just always, I'm not picky, but he just
Critical?
thank you. Very critical about me and my son. So not Max, my brother Mark, and I would be like, oh my God, we forgot to call Dad. Oh my God, he's going to get really mad at us. Oh my God, we better call him. Oh my God, I don't want to call him now. I remember going through those. I remember him taking us out to dinner, and my brother would order too much. He goes, remember, if you order all that, you got to eat it. Yeah. Now, I'm saying it gruffly, but he was very sweet. But, oh, no, we were very afraid.
Oh, I was afraid of my dad, too. Yeah. Is that part of, like, that era also, that generation?
I don't know, but I think that's him. And yet, he was also a very tender man. Like, my brother now, who is 64, my brother has this, when you meet him, it's this, he's got kind of a gruff thing, will cry at the drop of a hat.
Really?
I will not cry. And I think because I grew up when I had to take care of Max and I'm in control, so I don't cry. Not that I don't want to, it just doesn't come out. So, but I'm thinking that might have something to do with the intimidation factor and the fact that I'm just not good enough.
Yeah, that not good enough thing, boy.
I mean, they all
boy.
supported me in what I did.
Yes.
But as a person, it was like, I'm always telling Max, and I'm sure you tell your kids, and you too, God, it's all right to make a mistake. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many? So you dropped something, so you broke something.
Yeah.
Max, you know how many times I do that?
Yeah.
You're like amazing. I am always doing that, whether he takes it in or not. I always do that. I think that we have to, and friends and everything. So what? So
I have to tell you this. I was on Wheel of Fortune when I was in 1985. I was on Wheel of Fortune when I came out here.
how many days were you on?
Oh, it was the nighttime show, so it was just one
okay.
time. And I won a car. I won
wow.
big. I won big, and I taped it in sometime in July, and it aired in November. And my parents were watching it in New York, and I was on the phone with my father, and he said, I didn't think you were going to win. And it was like, what do I have to do? I taped it already. It's done. It was like surreal. So that not good enough thing is like so ingrained in. I mean, I had to go on the Tonight Show to
make them happy.
To prove to them that I know what I'm doing. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
a lot.
That's pretty
to have
high
to
standard.
Do. Yeah.
And I get like, well, so and so saw you on blah blah blah. Why didn't you tell me you were going to be on? I don't remember, Dad. I don't. I mean, it's like, it is. It's like, God, can't you just be happy?
I know.
If there's somebody listening who doesn't feel like they're not good enough, then they found the wrong show. Because I think that this is a universal problem. Do you think that
amongst
among women and
yes.
especially women over 40?
I'm just going to see if.
Is that the
I'm
ice
sorry,
cream truck?
No, that's actually my landline.
I'm sorry, it's 1780.
I thought she was like, hello. She was going
Just scam. Let's keep going.
But I think that that's such a universal problem, not feeling good enough. And so do you feel like it's always been in us? Do you feel like it gets stronger after 40, or it's just like more prominent?
You mean the feeling of not being good enough?
Yes, because I
feel like I've gotten
gotten better?
better at it, but it's still I look at my upbringing as like a record. Need a phonograph. Listen to it. A record like a needle.
We'll have a dictionary at the end, a glossary.
Yes.
Yeah.
That has
That goes back and forth.
it's worn a groove. And what happens is when you're teetering towards the edge, the groove is the place where it naturally falls.
Right.
So my groove of not being good enough is deep. So I have to keep out of it consciously. I have to keep out of it, and I feel like I've gotten better. But the groove's still there.
Right.
It's still ingrained in me.
Can you
It's
just
old
catch
stuff.
yourself before you get into the groove?
I catch myself before. I catch myself just in it, and I pull myself out of it. And there are times when I don't. There are times when I find myself deep in it.
Right.
But I feel like I've gotten better because I'm more conscious of it. I'm just more cognizant of what I'm going through. I can look at myself more objectively than I used to be able to as a younger person.
Right. I mean, there's so many pros and cons, right? As far as this age thing.
I have a lot more wisdom, which is great. And I also, gravity has made my body fall, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hardest to look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh,
Who the fuck
I don't
is
look
that?
the same.
I know.
Or, I can't, what do you mean I can't wear a bikini anymore?
I know.
Or, oh my God, I've been working out, but I still have that back fat. Or I just don't have the energy. I don't have the energy like I used to in terms of cardio. I can't. I hate it. I've done so many different kinds of exercises, and I know I need to do them. I'm doing Pilates right now, which I like, but not nearly. I don't go nearly enough as I should. So, yeah, I hate it. And then there are times when you're dressed up and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, or you see a picture of yourself and you go, wow, I do look good. I think women, because look what we are up against.
Right.
The society and fashion and looks and this and that. And I want to be Helen Mirren.
Right.
I think she is. And I just recently started looking on Instagram, women over 50. I just want to see women that celebrate crazy fashion and that look like they're really together.
Right. Well, I mean, so I don't wear shorts that go up that are really, really short. So I wear shorts down to my knees. Big deal. I mean,
but
that's okay.
Right. I mean, as long as you're okay with it. I mean,
I am
nobody's going to
okay
come
with
up
it.
to you and go, Cathy, what are you wearing?
I'm okay with it. I look at my body and I always think I'm fat. That's my disease.
But right.
I always think I'm fat. And I've gotten to a point where, okay, I accept that. I accept that that's what I'm always going to see.
Right. How long have you been in recovery?
I've been in recovery, I would say 33 years.
And so
And it's
did
an
that
ongoing
start
thing,
as
yeah.
a child?
Anorexia started for me when I was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I got down to under 85 pounds as an adult, as somebody who's 23 years old.
Wow. And it's something that you'll always have
It's something
to
you always
address.
have. It's like alcoholism. It's something you always have, and I go to I go to 12-step program, and I'm in therapy, and it's something that I work on, and I feel like one of the lucky ones because it's a killer disease. I mean, you can die from this disease.
Absolutely.
And I feel very lucky.
Well, and I
feel very
can't
lucky.
imagine having to go through recovery. Other things they just say stop, right?
I know
Alcohol,
with food,
stop.
right? I know with food,
I
you
mean,
have
it's-
to eat. You
yeah.
have to learn. You have to learn how to live in the world. You have to learn how to be part of it, and accept that this is a more challenging thing for you than is for someone who doesn't have this disease, and that's just
Right.
the way it is. I mean, if you're a diabetic, it's the same thing.
And I think that's what's really good to talk about because we don't know. I've never had an addictive personality or had that kind of, I mean, I always look at myself thinking, oh my God, you're so fat, but not like I eat and, and whatever. But it's true. I don't know what she's going through because I've never lived in that. I have another friend who has weight issues. And she says, you don't know, Mindy, you don't know what I have to deal with. You don't know how hard it is for me. And I don't. I try to understand. I really do because I don't poo-poo it. I give her food.
She just fed me because, and I see that was recovery for me. I didn't have time to have breakfast, and I don't know when I'm going to have lunch today. And I said to Mindy, I need to eat something. Can I have something?
And
to
see,
eat?
for Mindy, what I always do is there is always food in my car. There is always a bar.
That's so
There's always
smart.
chips. And I think when having a child, there was you always you had that backpack of
Right.
that, and so my friend makes fun of me. She'll go in and she goes, "Oh my God, here, have this." I will
That's
always
very
have
smart. I gotta
things
do
in
that.
my car and my console. That so when she says, "I didn't have time to eat," and I go, "You stop at a 7-Eleven. You just get something." I don't understand that. I have to eat. And
Right.
it's not like I will eat an abundance of food at all, but I always have something to keep me going because I know my body needs fuel.
Right.
Right.
So that's why it's
Right.
so it's like, all right, well, I'm going to make you something. Yeah.
Sometimes we'll talk about anorexia, we'll talk about alcohol addiction, drug addiction, and then we move into, our 50s, 60s, and it's like, oh, you're still dealing with that? Like it was supposed to go away.
Right. Well,
Do you feel like that there's as much understanding about some of that as there was?
No, and the thing is that, I mean, first of all, there's way more understanding about anorexia than there was when I became sick with it. I mean, it was just becoming something
Right.
in the news when I was sick. This was 1978.
I mean, yeah, it was like Karen Carpenter was pretty much
Right.
the only person.
Right.
And she wasn't, was she, I don't think she was out then. Was it?
No, not. It was. I think
while.
it was
After
after
she died, yeah.
Yeah. But some people don't get it. Some people just don't get it, and it's just ignorance. It's just
Yeah.
that people that don't have the knowledge.
Right.
I think more people do than don't, though.
Right.
Oh, I think now so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think certainly back then it was like, I don't understand. You're not fat.
Right.
I don't get you.
I mean, my father used to say to me, "Just open the refrigerator and take a piece of rye bread." That was his cure.
There's the answer
Oh,
right
my
there.
God, I love that rye bread.
Your dad had all the answers. I don't
He
know
had
why you
all
didn't
the
take
answers.
them.
I don't know.
Oh my
I
God,
don't
that's
know.
so funny. Can that be called something? Can that be the title of your book or your
Just
show?
open the refrigerator and take a piece of
Just
rye
take a
bread.
piece of
I'm
rye
telling
bread.
you,
Just
that,
take a
I would
piece of
see that in
rye
a
bread.
heartbeat. Yes.
Absolutely. Well,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
what would be something, we've talked about some of the challenges, obviously, of being over 40, 50, 60, but what are some of the ways that life has improved?
I mean, I just think the life experience and the wisdom that I've gained from being alive and going through things and falling on my face and realizing that I'm here. I've survived it. It hasn't killed me. All those things that I thought were going to be so horrible when they happened haven't killed me.
And I think too, and I know this after my marriage died, and I had to take care of everything. I became like a grown-up. I remember after Max was born, I all of a sudden became more of a grown-up because I was kind of a little girl. I still am a little bit. There's little things that, I just can't deal with. But, but I realized, maybe that's why I can't cry, is that I got to be in control. And I never felt I was an in-control person. I never felt I was a controlling person. And so I do find that I have grown up. I have to take care of everything. And I think some success in the business gave me a little bit, too, of this confidence that I have that, all right, well, so I didn't get that, but someone's going to call me. I just know it. But being a mom, I think, made a big impact about how I feel about myself and about the fact that, I need to take care of someone. I need to take care of things. So I am that person that people will come to. So I definitely grew up.
Yeah. And you were both over 40 when you became a mom.
I was 48.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you probably looked at life and parenting in a different lens than
I
somebody.
didn't know what the hell I was doing.
None of us do, right?
I didn't. No, I guess not. But I really didn't know what I was in for. And one of the downsides of being an older mom is that you don't have the physical energy that you have when you're in your 20s or 30s. But I really had so much more life experience and wisdom. And I think the way, like even dealing with my daughter being a new driver, I am so much calmer and have so much more perspective. And I can offer her things that really weren't offered to me. Right. That my parents just didn't have the knowledge or the sensitivity or whatever. I think we all as parents tend to parent in a way that we wished that we had been parented.
Yes.
And we make mistakes. We make other mistakes. But I feel good. One of the things that I feel best about as a parent is that I give my daughter the ability to express herself, and however she needs to express herself through her personality, the way she dresses, the way her green hair, and whatever she wants to do. And I know that she's a good person, and I know that she'll use these opportunities wisely. And yeah, she makes mistakes. And it's okay to make a mistake.
But you're teaching her through your own behavior that it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah, and she's really hard on herself. Like she made a mistake driving this morning, and she was really being hard on herself. I said, well, this is a good opportunity to learn, and it's a good opportunity to forgive yourself. And she says, no, there's no forgiving myself. And I know it really made me sad to hear that, but I just have to keep repeating it to her.
Right.
And see,
keep showing her.
And I'll hear Max say those things too.
Yeah.
He gets angry when something doesn't, work out, and it's like, and I'm always like, oh my God, please, can I just tell you? But see, I feel like I'm the only person that gives him that information because he's so caught up in his, in his life, in his room. I mean, it's work.
He's insulated, isn't he?
Thank you. Yes. And so when I do get him out, he's great with my friends. They love him. We're all on Facebook and Instagram together. But my whole thing is, oh my God, I need to make him self-efficient, and I need to make him feel the best he can about who he is, because there are times where he just doesn't like to be autistic, and it's really hard on him. So there is this protection. I am this protector. Well, I have to be in control.
See, and I think that you might benefit a little bit from letting go.
Yeah.
A bit, because there are things about each of us that we don't like about ourselves. I don't love that I'm an anorexic. And maybe there are things that you don't love. I don't love
that I can't cry, and that I do. I have to pull back, and and that's something that we all, as parents, just you learn and you work through it. But I just wish he had, I think, someone else to counter my stuff.
Yes, I get that. I totally get that. But I think Kathy, I would love to hear what you think of this. But the whole crying thing, I feel like you know, in the 70s, it was like, oh, women, you can be seen. You can get a job. Look, you could be a secretary, you know, take typing.
Yes.
And then it was like, you can have it all and you can. And then we got to the point where we were trying to do it all and take care of kids and have these jobs that we pushed down the crying because we're supposed to have it all. We're supposed to be like men now. And so I'm not supposed to have these emotions. And, you know, maybe hormones have been taken away at
I
some
have no
point.
hormones.
Me too.
I'm harmless.
I always say when I walk.
Hormoneless. I have
You have different
I've had
hormones.
I've had
Me
a
too.
hysterectomy.
Yep, me too.
And my so I've got nothing in me.
Yeah, I always say if you listen really carefully, you can hear me clank when I walk. Like there's like hollow couple organs still in there because we haven't even addressed the fact that you also have the BRCA mutation. You don't have that.
Not that I
Not-
would I know
you don't
that?
Have,
No,
well,
you have to go get
cancer in
tested.
your- You don't have a lot of breast
you
cancer
get-
in your life.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
But
I
it doesn't matter. The BRCA gene doesn't matter even if you don't have it in your family. That doesn't matter. People are still getting having
Yes.
breast cancer, without it.
Yes.
My sister just had breast cancer last year.
I didn't
Does
know
not
that.
have the BRCA gene.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know she
Yeah.
did.
So it just is weird. My cousin, whose mother had it first, so that would be my aunt. She doesn't have it, so I'm the one that showed it.
Wait, so they had cancer. They were tested. They did not
My
have the
sis,
gene.
well, my aunt, she was the first one to have it. I don't know if she was tested.
Okay.
And she didn't die, but she had it. And then her daughter was tested, did not have it. That my cousin. And then my sister was tested after she got it, and nothing. So I'm the
Wow.
one that had the BRCA gene.
You're the one.
It just,
And you were how old when you were diagnosed?
oh God, it was. I think it was 19 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah. So I was early 40s.
And how
Yeah,
often do you get checked now?
I go every 6 months because I'm a freak. You know, well, because usually it's like, you know, now it's like you can go every year, but once a year I get a MRI, and then I go every 6 months for a checkup, and then I get a mammogram once a year too. But it's just for a checkup. They take my blood and they touch me and stuff. I go every 6 months.
They touch me and stuff.
I know. I was like, no wonder
gotta
why she
touch
goes
you
so
and
often.
The
stuff.
only time that I get touched.
All right, Ms. Neal, lie down. I got to touch you and stuff.
But you had actually a lumpectomy after breast cancer. You didn't have a mastectomy.
I had 2 lumpectomies.
2 lumpectomies.
Yes, so I did not have my breast taken off, just made smaller. But I did do chemo. I had to do chemo.
Okay.
For the second time. Yes.
I didn't know you did chemo.
Yes, Kathy.
Oh, wow.
Do I
This
need
is
to write
way-
all this down?
This
Shall
is
I
way
introduce
before-
you?
This is way before
way before you.
I thought you had radiation. I didn't know you had
No,
chemo.
I had radiation on both, but chemo on one.
Okay.
Wow. So when we met at that brunch, you know, about a month ago, it was like, oh, you're BRCA as well. And,
Yes, and you could talk about
and
that.
we have adopted kids. And, you
I
know,
know,
it
that's
was like,
why this
So
relationship's
did you
going to go
have
fine.
did you have breast cancer?
I had, so my mom was 39 when she died.
Oh,
And then
wow.
2 of her sisters died around 49, 50, and 52.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like, you know, out of the 5 girls, and I think 4 of them had the gene, which we didn't know at the time because
Right.
my mom didn't survive. And so my sisters were tested, and I waited until I had my boys. I have 2 biological boys, and then was tested, and I was positive. They found a lump, the whole thing. So when I went into surgery, I did not know if I had cancer because they couldn't do a needle biopsy. I had just been breastfeeding. It was like
wow.
this whirlwind
Wow.
situation. And then I woke up and they're like, you didn't have cancer. So of course there was that, did I do the right thing? You know, but then 4 days later, the doctor came in and she said, you had precancer in the other breast.
Oh,
Wow.
ductal in situ?
No, it wasn't that, it wasn't that far. It was just like a precancerous.
Oh, okay.
So they
Wow.
said 1 to 5 years away from that, I would have
Wow.
had that full.
So they
diagnosis.
removed
They have
something.
removed both of my breasts, and then I had a hysterectomy.
Oh, you had a mastectomy?
I had a mastectomy.
Oh, okay.
And I had a hysterectomy, and I'm hollow. I'm just
Wow.
like, blink.
So did you have reconstructive?
I had reconstruction because my boys were both under 2 at
Yes.
the time. They did implants
Oh.
because the surgery to have the stomach surgery at the same
Right.
time was just
Was too
way
much,
too
right.
much. But I always intended to do that. So
Right.
then 4 years ago, I had the implants taken out.
And you had
And
reconstructive.
I had reconstruction with
And you
my,
happy with
my
it?
stomach. I mean, I am, but I have to remind myself. So you said something earlier about, reminding yourself how grateful you are and how I have to remind myself. I have a picture of what I look like after giving birth to two boys in 16 months, and what my breasts look like. And sometimes I have to pull out that picture. And I was 34 years old. They did not look good.
Wow.
So this was a good thing to have. Yeah.
I don't walk around like, look at me, but at the same time, they're not worse than they were.
Right.
So I have to remind myself of that because I think sometimes we can
You're pretty lucky.
fantasize,
Well, my sister at 45 gave birth to a little girl and never wanted children and didn't think she could have children. And then when she was 3, my sister got breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't this crazy? And she had a double mastectomy.
Wow. And your sister's okay now.
Very.
Great. How old's the baby now?
She's 4 and
She's so cute.
I'm in love with her. But that's what I'm saying. I really am my mother. My mother, it was really, she loved children and except my mother didn't take care of herself. I take care of myself, but my mother was always like, when you talk to her, Mom, how you doing? You're right. Oh, I'm all right. How are you? It was all about us, all about her family. So I do take care of myself more than my mother did. But my mother passed in her 80s. She started getting dementia or Alzheimer's and then got small cell cancer and boom, within days.
Oh. What's
It
small
was
cell cancer?
Horrible. Very fast growing cancer. And was done. And it was like,
Oy vey.
so that rattled, because
That's
she was
shocking.
the queen.
Right.
That rattled everybody. Yeah. I mean, the relationship she had with my son, amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah. So she never got to see my sister's baby. But it's just one of the weird things where Amy never really wanted children. I didn't think she was a,
Nurturing?
Yeah. And it's like the best mom. She's
that's
the
so
best
great.
mom. And
That's so
yeah.
great.
So life is just weird.
Yeah.
What it
Life
brings
is
you.
full of surprises. It really is. I mean, like, I remind myself that during the darkest times that you never know what's around the corner. You just never
Now,
know
I have a really
what's
quick
around the
about
corner.
that. I have a really quick question. If somebody said to you, both of you, I can read everything about what's going to happen to you in the future, would you want that?
I don't think I would, because I think it would hamper my choices so much, and I wouldn't be living in the moment. I wouldn't be able to live in the moment anymore, because I would know. It's like
if they said to you,
it's like reading the last page of a book. Would you want to do that?
Well, it's like if they said to you, at 74, that's when things are going to go declining for you. Would you want to know that?
No,
Wouldn't that be just weird? I don't know. I just thought of that. Like,
no,
it's funny.
but thanks.
Wait, Mindy, what do you know?
Yeah, no, nothing.
So one of the things I was much younger, but I always used to say, I try to live my life like I have 10 years left, in that you plan, you're not careless. You're not a huge risk taker, but you also live life like it's meant to be lived today. So it's kind of, you have a little bit of a balance.
Well, on the bucket list too, and no, that sounds like, oh my God, I'm like 80, I need a bucket. No, my
I love a
bucket list
bucket
really is just about, because I do sometimes, I get a little caught up in, what is it that you want to do, Mindy? What is it that's going to make you, what is it? I don't know. But I do know that my family never liked to travel, and I like doing a little bit of traveling.
Yeah.
And I love going with my girlfriends, and I like doing a little bit of that. So if I can afford that and I can do that, I don't have to stay for too long. I don't like to stay for too long. I get homesick. But I don't need to buy a condo. I don't need to buy a fancy car. I don't, so I'm very simple, and that's how my mother was too. But those are the kind of things I would like to do. Like, I'd love to go back to Italy one more time. Or I'd love to, so I think those kind of things.
It's all about experience.
I want to go
Yes.
to Africa so badly, and
Really?
I've wanted to go for years. And we're going to China in November for the first time since we adopted
Really?
my daughter. Yeah, and we're going to go back and see her orphanage. And,
It's so cool.
We're
and-
doing that next year in Taiwan.
cool!
Yes, birth
That's-
family.
That's
and-
so great.
Yes.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know her birth parents, but we're going to go to Beijing and Shanghai, and then we're going to get over to Nanjing, and her orphanage is near there, and we're going to plotted out before we go.
Wow, that's great.
So
That's going to be a
excited.
powerful.
But I really want to go to Africa. For several years, this has been speaking to me. I just want to see animals.
So we're going to put it out there that you're going to get a series.
Yay!
And they're gonna
Can we
shoot-
get one together?
Okay, you're going to get a series together, and you're going to shoot at least a few episodes in Africa.
Oh my God!
So they're going to send you over there.
Yes,
you hear that,
the
universe?
Sullivans go to Africa.
Well, it's better than the crap. Some of the crap that's on there
I
now.
know.
so-
Oh my God, I know. Believe me. That's why Netflix and Hulu, all that. I don't even watch regular TV. I
Yeah.
love.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
I don't even have live TV anymore.
Oh God.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I know. We're so crazy.
that's so great.
Okay, before we go, because
Yes.
I could talk to you both all day.
yes,
I
same
know you have
here.
other things to do. So obviously 40 Thrive is 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. It's not, people sometimes will say, oh, I like your podcast, but I'm not 40. I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm not 40.
We all have stuff that we can all relate to. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I would have 55 and 60 Thrive, but somebody actually heard of my brand and then scooped them up, the URLs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So shout out to them. But when I say, what does 40 Thrive mean to you? I mean, obviously 40 and beyond. So
Right.
Cathy, what does it mean to you to 40 Thrive?
Well, it means to do more than just subsist, to more than just exist, to more than just survive. It means to really push the envelope and experience things beyond what you think you're capable of. To do more than what you think, to go beyond what you think your limitations are, because I think we self-impose limitations and that aren't there.
Absolutely. I see it every day.
Yeah.
What about you?
I
Mindy?
agree with all of that. I think finding what makes you happy, finding what brings you joy, try to find joy every day. And how can you make someone else's life good and comfortable?
I like
and
Mindy's
loving.
answer better.
Do you want to change your answer?
And being good to yourself. Again, I think women, we tend to beat ourselves up a lot. And being in this business, we tend to beat ourselves up a lot. So I
Yeah.
think it's, just reminding myself and finding ways to, even if it's just going to get a manicure or pedicure, finding ways to go, hey, I'm taking care of myself. These are the things that are important that I need to do to invest in a good life and a healthy life. I am really, really pro, go to a doctor. Go to a doctor, let him tell you everything's fine. Get your animals to a doctor if you think there's something wrong. Let them say, oh, Mindy, it's fine. I would rather hear that. I know because I gave my cat a little too much Claritin this morning. And I'm freaking out because she's hiding. And they said, she'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you. So that kind of stuff. I just want to be happy. I don't like a lot of drama. I have drama with my family, and life is drama, but I don't want excessive drama.
Right. You don't invite it into your life.
No,
Awesome.
Kathy, no.
No.
Cathy Ladman, Mindy Sterling, thank you so much.
Oh, so
Thank you.
I
great.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
both. You're amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, yay, this was great.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend. You know the one. She could use a good laugh right now. Until next time, take care and keep thriving.